Today is Thursday, and of course, this is an important date on the calendar for thousands of parents in Ontario because thousands of education workers across Ontario will be striking if a deal is not made by Friday. This is despite looming legislation from Queen's Park that would make that strike illegal. What's at stake and how is the union planning to protect those on the picket lines? Joining us this morning is President of CUPE Ontario, Fred Hahn. Welcome to your morning.
Good morning, Anne-Marie.
Listen, 10th day today, Queen's Park hoping to pass its anti-strike legislation. If it goes through, education workers at the picket line could be facing fines of up to $4,000. How is the union going to protect them if that happens?
I'm proud to say that our national union decided some weeks ago that if in fact there was legislation that tried to target workers, that we would indemnify them, but that we will also fight against these fines. Look, it's clear. This is a figure that is more than double anything that has ever happened in the history of this type of legislation. It is a clear attempt to try to intimidate and bully workers. Our members, 70% of whom are women, 60% of whom are laid off every summer, whose average wage is $39,000 a year, I'm proud to say, have decided that they will not be intimidated or threatened by this, and that they will stand up not only for themselves, but for the students they support every day in our schools, for the important work they do in our schools across the province.
This new legislation that is being voted on today would also allow the government to fine CUPE directly up to $500,000 per day. How much leverage can the union have over Queen's Park if that starts to happen?
This is 5 times what is allowable in the Ontario Labour Relations Act. It is clearly an attempt to try to intimidate our union. This isn't about, it should not be about fines and intimidation. It should be about what the minister keeps saying. If it's all about the kids and keeping kids in school, look, it's not just about keeping them in those buildings. It's about having enough supports in those buildings, enough people in those buildings to actually help our kids and give them what they need to succeed, enough education assistance to help for kids with special needs, an ECE in every kindergarten classroom to work with our youngest learners, custodians to make sure that that school is clean and safe, admin staff to make sure that it's working well. That's really what this is all about, and it is what our members are fighting for.
The government has said over and over it will consider counteroffers from CUPE unless, it will not consider rather, any of those unless strike action is taken off the table. We are past that now. So what is the plan to make progress at the bargaining table from here?
The plan to make progress at the bargaining table is to actually have people call their MPPs directly and let them know, look, you can't have a government saying we're willing to negotiate and then say they're not willing to consider an offer, and then introduce legislation that is a massive overreach. It is historic in Canadian history. Never before have we seen legislation like this. It is why so many people are coming to say that they stand with our union, that they stand with CUPE, that they are supporting education workers. They know that these mainly women workers are trying to be intimidated by this government, and that's simply not okay because the services they provide are so dearly, dearly needed in our schools and so supported by parents. People know how important these jobs are.
Mr. Hahn, is this about, at this point, is this about the contract or is this about the government trying to mandate it?
It's always been about the contract. The challenge is our people have been trying to bargain for over 120 days. The government gave one offer. It never moved from it. And then it brought in legislation that it clearly had drafted weeks ago because it's hundreds of pages long. It seems clear to us now that this was always going to be the move of the government. But here's the thing about education workers. They've had their rights stripped from them over the last decade. There was Bill 115 that interfered with their collective bargaining rights and mandated zeros. There's Bill 124, which capped their compensation at 1%. And now there's this attempt. And our people, after more than a decade, after falling behind from inflation, they're already 11% behind with raging inflation, danger of falling into an even deeper hole. People have decided enough is enough, and I couldn't be more proud.
Education workers, parents, all watching what happens today. Thanks so much, Mr. Hahn.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.